There's a certain kind of dread that seeps into your soul when you realize that everything you've been doing has led you nowhere. I remember the exact moment it hit me. I was sitting at my desk in a dimly lit office, staring at a spreadsheet that blurred together with a dozen other spreadsheets I'd managed that week. My eyes burned from exhaustion, and the monotony of it all weighed heavily on my chest. For years, I had been grinding away in a job that promised security but delivered nothing but stress and unfulfilled dreams. I had always been told that if I worked hard and kept my head down, I'd eventually climb the corporate ladder. But here I was, 28 years old, barely making enough to cover my rent and student loans, with nothing to show for it. That night, after another grueling day, I found myself sprawled out on my couch, the hum of the refrigerator the only sound in my tiny, run-down apartment. I glanced at the pile of bills on the table and felt a wave of panic. My savings were nearly depleted, and the thought of another emergency expense sent a shiver down my spine. My anxiety was a constant companion, and the future looked bleak. I knew I couldn't go on like this. I was trapped, suffocating under the weight of financial stress, and something had to change. But how? I wasn't sure. I had no clue where to start or what to do. I only knew one thing: if I didn't take action, my life would continue on this miserable trajectory. That realization was terrifying, but it was also the jolt I needed to wake up. A few days after my breaking point, I decided to take a walk to clear my head. The city streets were alive with people, but I felt like I was moving in slow motion, detached from the hustle and bustle around me. As I wandered aimlessly, I passed by a small bookstore that I'd never noticed before. On a whim, I walked in, drawn by the smell of old books and the promise of escape. I browsed the aisles until I found myself in the self-help section, my eyes scanning the titles without much interest. Then, a book caught my eye: The Millionaire Fast Lane. The title was bold, almost arrogant, but something about it intrigued me. I picked it up, flipped through the pages, and read a few passages. The author's voice was direct, almost confrontational, but his message was clear: the traditional path to wealth was a slow, torturous journey that most people never completed. There was another way, a faster way, but it required breaking free from societal norms and taking control of your financial destiny. I bought the book and spent the next few days devouring its contents. The book's ideas were radical, even uncomfortable, but they resonated with me on a deep level. It challenged everything I'd been taught about money and success, and the words lit a fire inside me. I realized that if I wanted to escape the life I was living, I had to think differently, act differently, and, most importantly, take risks. The first thing I did was sit down and assess my financial situation. It was worse than I'd thought. My debts were growing, my income was stagnant, and my expenses were out of control. But instead of letting the numbers paralyze me with fear, I used them as fuel. I needed to get out of this mess, and I needed to do it fast. I started by cutting out every unnecessary expense. I cancelled subscriptions, stopped eating out, and even moved into a cheaper apartment. It was painful, but I knew it was a necessary sacrifice. Every little money I saved went straight into paying off my debts. But I quickly realized that saving alone wouldn't get me to where I wanted to be. I needed to increase my income, and dramatically. That's when I turned to the internet. I began researching different ways to make money online, reading countless articles and watching endless videos. Dropshipping, affiliate marketing, freelancing, there were so many possibilities, but I didn't know where to start. It was overwhelming, and for a moment, I felt that familiar sense of doubt creeping in. What if I failed? What if all this effort was for nothing? But then I remembered something I'd read in the same book: action creates the illusion of certainty. I didn't have to have all the answers right now. I just needed to start. So, I chose one path: freelancing. I had some skills in graphic design, nothing extraordinary, but enough to get by. I created a profile on a popular freelancing platform and started bidding on jobs. The first few weeks were rough. I barely got any responses, and when I did, the pay was abysmal. But I kept at it, learning as I went, improving my pitches, and building a portfolio. Slowly, the jobs started coming in, and with them, a small but steady stream of income. It wasn't much, but it was a start, and that was enough to keep me going. As my freelancing income grew, so did my confidence. I was still working my full-time job, but I was beginning to see a light at the end of the tunnel. However, it wasn't enough. Freelancing, while more lucrative than my previous side hustles, still felt like trading time for money. I needed something more scalable, something that could grow exponentially without requiring more of my time. That's when I stumbled upon an article about e-commerce, specifically the concept of creating and selling digital products. The idea intrigued me. Unlike physical products, digital goods had virtually no overhead costs, no inventory to manage, and no shipping hassles. Once created, they could be sold over and over again, generating passive income. I decided to take the plunge. I spent weeks brainstorming ideas, researching markets, and learning how to create digital products. Eventually, I settled on something that combined my skills and passions, a comprehensive online course on graphic design for beginners. I knew there were plenty of courses out there, but I believed I could offer something unique, an affordable, high-quality course that made graphic design accessible to everyone. The creation process was grueling. I spent every spare moment working on the course, often staying up late into the night. I recorded videos, designed worksheets, and built a website to host the course. It was exhausting, and there were moments when I wanted to quit, but I pushed through. Finally, after months of hard work, the course was ready. I launched it with little fanfare, unsure of what to expect. I set a modest goal for the first month, just enough to cover the costs I'd incurred. But what happened next took me completely by surprise. In the first week after launch, I made only a handful of sales, just enough to keep me hopeful. But then something incredible happened. One of the students who bought my course posted a glowing review on a popular design forum, praising its clarity and value. That review sparked interest, and within days, I saw a surge in traffic to my site. Sales began to snowball. Word spread quickly, and soon, I was receiving emails from students all over the world, thanking me for the course and sharing how it had helped them. It was surreal. The income from the course far exceeded my expectations, and within a month, I was making more from my digital product than I was from both my full-time job and freelancing combined. But it wasn't just about the money. For the first time in my life, I felt a sense of purpose and accomplishment. I had created something that people found valuable, something that was making a real difference in their lives. It was an exhilarating feeling, and it only fueled my desire to keep going. I started thinking bigger. I expanded the course, added new content, and even started offering one-on-one coaching sessions. The income continued to grow, and by the end of the third month, I realized that I had achieved something I once thought was impossible: financial independence. With my new income streams flourishing, I was faced with a decision that I'd been avoiding for weeks. My full-time job, once a source of stability, had become a burden. It was taking time away from my business, time that I could use to scale even further. But quitting felt like jumping off a cliff into the unknown. What if my success was just a fluke? What if the money dried up? I wrestled with the decision for days, torn between fear and excitement. I sought advice from friends and family, but most of them urged caution. They didn't understand the full scope of what I had built, and they couldn't see the potential that I saw. In the end, the decision came down to a single question: did I want to live my life in fear, or did I want to embrace the possibilities before me? The answer was clear. I handed in my resignation the next day, feeling a mix of terror and exhilaration. It was the scariest thing I'd ever done, but also the most liberating. With my job behind me, I threw myself into my business with everything I had. I launched new courses, expanded my digital product line, and invested in marketing. The more I scaled, the more income I generated. I began to outsource tasks that I didn't enjoy or wasn't skilled at, freeing up my time to focus on growth and strategy. I also started to diversify my income streams. I began investing in stocks and real estate, using the profits from my business to build a portfolio that would generate passive income for years to come. I even explored other business ventures, collaborating with partners to create products and services that complemented my courses. The momentum was incredible. Within 6 months of quitting my job, I had achieved a level of financial freedom that I never thought possible. My business was thriving, my investments were growing, and for the first time in my life, I felt completely in control of my future. But with success came new challenges. Managing a growing business was demanding, and there were days when I felt overwhelmed by the sheer volume of work. I had to learn how to delegate, how to manage a team, and how to keep my vision clear amidst the chaos. It wasn't easy, but every challenge was an opportunity to learn and grow. Now, almost a year after that fateful night on the couch, my life is unrecognizable from what it once was. I live in a beautiful home, travel frequently, and have the freedom to spend my time however I choose. But more importantly, I've built something that I'm proud of, a business that not only provides for me but also adds value to others. Looking back, it's hard to believe how much has changed in such a short time. The journey was anything but easy. There were countless sleepless nights, moments of doubt, and times when I felt like giving up. But every setback was a lesson, and every victory was a step closer to the life I wanted. I've learned that financial freedom isn't just about money, it's about taking control of your life, embracing risk, and being willing to step outside your comfort zone. It's about finding the courage to chase your dreams, even when the odds seem insurmountable. As I reflect on my journey, there are several key lessons that stand out. Mindset is everything. The biggest shift I made was in my mindset. I stopped seeing myself as a victim of circumstance and started taking responsibility for my life. This shift empowered me to take action and create change. Take calculated risks. Every major breakthrough in my journey came from taking a risk, whether it was starting my freelancing career, launching a digital product, or quitting my job. Risk is inherent in any path to success, but it's what allows you to grow and achieve more than you thought possible. Action is the antidote to fear. Fear paralyzes, but action propels. Every time I took a step forward, even when I was scared, I gained confidence and momentum. The more you do, the less power fear has over you. Invest in yourself. Whether it was buying that first book, learning new skills, or investing in tools and resources, every dollar I spent on my personal and professional growth paid off tenfold. You are your greatest asset, so never stop learning and improving. Persistence pays off. Success rarely comes overnight. It's the result of consistent, focused effort over time. There were many moments when I wanted to quit, but I pushed through, and that persistence made all the difference. Achieving financial freedom in less than a year was an incredible journey, but it's not the end of my story, it's just the beginning. Now that I have the freedom to pursue my passions and dreams, I'm more motivated than ever to keep growing, learning, and making an impact. I'm working on new projects, exploring new business opportunities, and finding ways to give back to the community. I'm also mentoring others who are just starting their journey to financial freedom, sharing the lessons I've learned and helping them navigate the challenges ahead. Financial freedom has given me more than just money. It's given me the freedom to live life on my terms, to take risks, to dream big, and to make a difference. It's a gift that I'm deeply grateful for, and one that I'm committed to sharing with others. As I look to the future, I'm excited about the possibilities. I know there will be new challenges, but I also know that I have the skills, knowledge, and mindset to overcome them. The journey to financial freedom is ongoing, and I'm ready to embrace whatever comes next. If you're watching this and feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or uncertain about your future, know that you have the power to change your situation. It won't be easy, and it won't happen overnight, but with the right mindset, a willingness to take risks, and a commitment to your goals, anything is possible. Start where you are. Educate yourself, take action, and don't be afraid to fail. Every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to the life you want. The road to financial freedom is challenging, but it's also incredibly rewarding. Believe in yourself, trust the process, and remember that the life of your dreams is within your reach. Your journey to financial freedom begins now. Take that first step, and never look back.